everybody, it's Kim Wilson today, and I'm going to show you 3 ways how to use gold leafing on your projects. And I put the pictures and instructions all up on my blog, craftdoc.com, so those are there for you to go back to. But we're going to make this card today. I used all 3 methods on this one card. This flower center is using the heat and stick powder to adhere the leafing. My frame around the outside, I used tear and tape, and the butterfly center right here, I just used a little dab of liquid glue. So those are 3 ways to add some gold leafing, and you just need, basically you just need something sticky so that when you add the leafing down it'll stay, and then you can wipe off all the extra leafing. So we'll start working on this card today, and I'm using the Fine Art Floral Designer Series paper, and it's got these beautiful hand-painted florals on the front, but the back of the paper has all these nice designs. So I'm going to use this kind of, it looks kind of like a hand scraped with oil design. Now if you don't want to, if it makes you sad to use up your pretty florals to use the back, then just make a watercolor background or some other background. I like to use 3 by 4 inch paper because I can get out of one 12 by 12 sheet, I can get, I guess that's 12 pieces that size and not have any waste. So that's a nice size for an inside panel of designer paper. So we are going to start by stamping with the Art Gallery stamp set, and I'm using terracotta tile, and I just want to mention that terracotta tile is retiring very soon, so if that's a color you like, you'll need to stock up on your ink refill and your cardstock very soon, because it'll be gone. Alright, so terracotta tile for the flower, and then old olive, which is our old standby, so it will never retire. Old olive for the leaves, and that fits just perfectly in my 3 by 4 piece here. Now this is still a little bit wet, so I'm going to set it aside, because if I put it in the gold leafing while it's still wet, it might attach all over the place. So we will grab one that I did earlier. You can see it's a little bit lighter, so it's nice and dry. Okay, so to use the heat and stick powder, we're going to use Versamark, and that is basically, the Versamark is just going to give the heat and stick powder something to stick to, just like if you were using embossing powder. So this is the inside design for the flowers, and it doesn't have to be perfectly lined up, but it's just giving you a little something to add the heat and stick powder to. So we'll just throw that on just like as if it was embossing powder. So I don't know if you can see that, but there's the heat and stick powder is there. I'm going to go ahead and put this back into the jar so I don't have it sitting out. I like to use just a folded piece of scrap paper. It's just convenient, and then I can throw it away when I'm done. So there's the heat and stick powder, and we'll need our heat tool for this, and so I'm going to get that turned on. And the heat and stick powder is a lot faster than embossing powder, so basically you can see it powdery there, and as soon as it gets melted, then it's just adding a sticky layer that we can put onto our our leafing. So we'll just give it a little shot here. Oh, it's already starting to melt. Okay, it's ready. So I quickly turn that off and grab my gold leafing here. Now I keep mine in a cardboard box, and what I'm going to do is just put that upside down into my leafing and just press it down so that it gets all over. It looks like it did a good job of sticking. Look at that. It looks like a big hot mess right now, but I'm just going to grab my sponge that I have sitting in here, and we'll gently wipe off all the excess leafing, and of course it can be used over and over again. So wipe off the excess and kind of do a little swirling motion at the end so I get all the pieces that are kind of sticking up. Okay, that one's done. I'm going to leave my sponge in there because it's covered with leafing, and if I hadn't have dropped it I would have avoided getting it all over my fingers, but not too bad. And I like this box for keeping my leafing in. I tried first a plastic container and it was just too staticky. It just flew everywhere. But I took my embossing buddy, which I keep right here, and wiped down the sides of the box and the lid so I can just keep it right in here. And look at how contained it is. I have no leafing on my surface. But if I move it around too much, or if I took off the lid too fast, it would go everywhere. And you can see when I open up the jar, it's very flighty and little. It's very, very flaky and light. So you can just put as much as you want in your box, and you still have lots for another project. So that's the leafing. And I find that it's not really much more messy than embossing powder. So as long as I have my cardboard box and not a plastic box, and I move slowly, it's pretty good at keeping to itself and not being too messy. Okay, so this piece is ready to go, and that's going to go there. And now I want to show you how I did the frame around here with tear and tape. So tear and tape is right here, and I have it basically all ready to go, and I just drew around the outside of my 3x4 paper with a pencil, and you can see my pencil line there, and then I just laid down the tear and tape on the edges, and I did have to cut it with the scissors because I wanted a nice clean edge, but I kind of just covered over my my line there. So I'm going to peel that off because that's the hardest part, is getting the corners started. So I did that earlier, but you want to push it down really nice, and then it's a little easier to pick it up. You can use your take your pick tool or your scissor blade to help get that up at the edges. But I'm going to peel off the part of my frame there, all those pieces, and now I'll grab my box again. This is the fun part. Okay, open it slowly. I probably should put a little more leafing in there because I've got a lot of area to cover. So let's throw a little bit more in there. It just never ends, does it? As soon as I put some out, it fluffs right back in there. Okay, see if I can put that back in there slowly. Okay, and there's no rush with the tear and tape because obviously it's not going to dry or anything, so it's nice and sticky, you can see that. And we'll just lay it down in here slowly and then press all over the edges and pull it up slowly. A good thing I had, let's see, it looks like I need a little bit more there and there, so good thing I added extra because I don't want it sticking to the box. So we'll add a little bit more there, add a little bit more there. All right, and another hot mess there, but we'll get my sponge out here. And I also tried using a piece of dryer sheet. That works well too. I just didn't like the chemical feel on my fingers, so I like using the sponge to wipe off the excess. And look at how shiny this is compared to embossing powder. I mean, they're both great techniques, but this is a little shinier, and it also has a little more texture to it because you can see the little individual pieces, kind of. So anyhow, I can keep working at that, swirl it a little bit to get the extra little bits off, tap it, and I'll finish this up later. I don't want to spend too much time on it, but there's my frame from my gold leafing. Yay! Set that aside very slowly and carefully. All right, and then the third thing I used was liquid glue, and that is on the butterfly here. So we will look at my butterfly collection here, and I have some that are cut out from the designer series paper. I've got some that were that I colored with Stampin' Blends and then die cut, and then I have some that are just die cut pieces, because there are so many fun dies in the butterfly bouquet collection. So the two suites I'm using all month are going to be the Art Gallery or Fine Art Floral, and then the Butterfly Brilliance, and it's also called Butterfly Bouquet. So all these names, but anyhow, they are two gorgeous, gorgeous suites, and they go really nicely together. Oh, I want to show you, I finished my my picture. So let me grab that real quick. Okay, here's my home decor piece that I finished the other day, and it's in the frame, and I added a butterfly to it. So that's something new. I thought, oh, why not add a butterfly to all these flowers and combine those two suites? So there's a little segue there before we do our butterfly. Okay, that's a brand new one. So let me get my old cruddy one out here, and I just added a tiny bit of glue here. And then I have a little sponge that is dedicated just to glue. It's all messy and sticky, and it's hard to clean, so I just keep it in a embellishment container, just like my embossing buddy. And I'm just gonna wipe that glue a little bit so it is not too gloppy. So then we'll slowly grab our box again, so it doesn't fly away. Stick it in there and tap that butterfly down, and it looks like it picked up a nice amount of leafing there. And again, we'll take the sponge and wipe off the excess. This is a little trickier because it kind of gets in those little bits and little grooves there. Swirl it a little to get the, that's pretty good. Okay, so there's my gold butterfly. Put that away slowly. All right, so my butterfly, and I've got my frame and my flower. So all I have to do is put all that together. So there you go. That's how I did this card. And the sentiment is actually these cute little dies that are in the Art Gallery bundle. So all these sentiments fit on either the small one or the large one. So that'll just go across the bottom like that. And there we go, 3 ways to use the gold leafing, and just got a little bit on my fingers, not too bad, and not a big mess on my work surface, so I'm pretty pleased with myself. Anyhow, I hope you'll give the gold leafing a try. It is, I think both the leafing and the heat stick powder are back ordered right now, but you can still order them, and they'll just come in a week or 2 when they're ready. So they are still orderable at the moment. So sometimes things go non-orderable, and then you can't even put them in your cart. But right now they're still orderable, and they'll get in as soon as they can. And I think the Art Gallery or the dies are back ordered, but still orderable at the moment. So you can get them in your cart and get them ordered so they get to you as soon as they come in. Anyhow, hope you enjoyed seeing the gold leafing and seeing me shake and be nervous about trying a new technique, but hey, it worked and it was fun. So hope you get to try it sometime. Happy crafting.